Thanks for being here. This is true crime and celebrity news. If true crime and live court trials and short videos your thing, with some celebrity news thrown in, please consider subscribing to my channel and also don't forget to hit the like button. If you enjoy the content, please check and make sure the notification bell is on. Have a wonderful day and see you in the next live.
Hello, how is everybody this evening? I hope everyone has had a good Saturday. I'm frying chicken wings. Son went to a 1-year-old's birthday party. Was not about to do no parties. No birthday parties for Ronnie today. We're expecting snow tonight. Yes. Oh my God. But if you're here now or in the replay, please take the time to hit the subscribe button. If you're not subscribed, like and share the stream out. Let people know that I'm live. Today we're going to go over the Rebecca Parks. God, it's such a tragedy. My God, how could a mother do this to their 38-week pregnant daughter, allegedly? Just awful. I don't know. I just don't like. Okay, good. That's off. I forgot to do all this stuff. Yeah, the Rebecca Parks, young girl. She had, I believe, an 11-year-old son. She was raised by a woman that had the last name Parks. Her mom lost custody of her and her sister when they were young. And now the lady is raising Rebecca's older son, which is 11. And all she wanted to do was give the little boy a sibling. That's what he wanted. She was going to do that. And unfortunately, allegedly, she met her demise. I believe, I can't remember the date, but it was November. But we're going to go over the case. It's such a horrible, horrible thing to have happen. Let's see. All right, let's go with this one. I like that Up North. Shout out to Up North. I think they're out of Michigan, I believe. They'll give us a good rundown of the situation. But unfortunately, Rebecca is no longer with us. It's just sad. All right, let's hear what they have to say. So it says, It says Rebecca Park, a 22-year-old woman who was about 38 to 39 weeks pregnant, is reported missing out of Boone Township. It would be reported later that she was last seen getting into a dark colored vehicle. That's what her mother said. She was supposed to meet up with her mom And her mom was going to give her $2,000 for some land that she had sold. Apparently, allegedly, I don't know what land her mother would have owned. Seems like to me it was more than that. So let's go ahead and play this and see what they have to say.
More details tonight as the search continues in Wexford County for 22-year-old Rebecca Kate Park, who was just days away from giving birth. Deputies tell us she was last seen a week ago, getting into a dark-colored vehicle outside a relative's home in Boone Township. She hasn't been seen or heard from since. Up North Live's Tony Lundy spoke to two of her loved ones as the latest.
Investigators later found Rebecca's cell phone discarded along a nearby tube track, a discovery that's only added to her family's fear.
Just keep telling myself every minute that she's gonna be found. Her and the little man are gonna be safe, okay. Having problems sleeping because for the last 2 years, every night, she's the one that was laying in bed next to.
Fowler says he knew something was wrong right away.
I tried to call her a few times because I didn't get no messages, call from her, nothing. And it's just not like her because we're together 99% of the time when we're not. You can ask anybody.
So the mom's boyfriend, this guy, and the sister were all arrested. He was arrested on drug charges. The sister was arrested on, I think, lying to law enforcement and something else. And then the mom they'll get to their charges. But this guy here used to date Rebecca's mom, Courtney. And yeah, weird dynamics here.
We're always on our phones messaging each other, letting us know, each other know what's going on.
Friends say Rebecca never went anywhere alone, and if something didn't feel right, she had a plan.
I know that Rebecca don't go nowhere by herself. I know that me and Rebecca and Paige have had a thing in mind for at least 6 years now, that if something was to go wrong, we have Rebecca's okay to call the cops and have them come look for her.
Now, they're pleading for anyone with information to come forward. A reward of $10,000 is now in place for information that helps bring Rebecca Park home safely. In Wexford County, Tony Lundy, Up North Live News.
If you have any information, call
I don't understand, because this just didn't happen that second. Like, there had to have been some warning signs. And why didn't this girl help Rebecca if she was so concerned?
For County Central Dispatch, or you can use the Silent Observer. We have the contact information posted on our website, upnorthlive.com.
Okay, so here's the next timeline. On Wednesday, November 12th, 2025, the Wexford County Sheriff's Office released a statement urging Rebecca to contact them. The next one is, Rebecca, the Sheriff's Office and people close to you are concerned about your well-being. Based on statements made by people close to you, it is possible that you are scared or hiding for reasons known only by you. We assure you that you aren't in any trouble. We have no reason to deprive you of any freedom that you already have. Furthermore, you are an adult. We are only obligated to report that we have contacted you and possibly your baby, and offer aid to you with whatever needs you may have. We are under no obligation to notify anyone of your whereabouts. If you see this message, please reach out to our office directly or any police, fire, or emergency medical services in the area you may be, and let them know who you are and why you need their help. Wexford County Office. Wow. Sad. Just sad.
New information tonight as the search continues for a missing Wexford County woman who is 9 months pregnant. 22-year-old Rebecca Park hasn't been seen since November 3rd. And as deputies follow every lead, friends say they've now been cleared to help look for her. Up North Live's Tony Lundy joins us live outside the Wexford County Sheriff's Office. Tony, what new information has been provided?
Yeah, Mark, I'm outside the Wexford County Sheriff's Office, where investigators told Rebecca's friends that they've received the go-ahead to organize their own searches as long as they stay within the law. It's been more than a week since she had vanished, and tonight her loved ones are desperate for answers.
Rebecca was seen Monday night getting into a dark-colored vehicle outside a home on South 21.5 Road in Boone Township. Her phone was found nearby on a 2-track road, but there's been no trace of Rebecca or her unborn baby since. Deputies say they believe Park received about $2,000 cash from family inheritance the day she vanished, money that can make it easier for her to avoid electronic tracking. Her friends, though, say she wasn't planning to leave.
Not as far as I know on housing, but I do know that her and Richie were talking about getting married, and they were trying to figure out how to get that goal achieved along with buying their own house.
Friends who have known Rebecca for years are now searching on their own, focusing on back roads and wooded areas near where she was last seen Monday.
She helped me, and it ended up sending her into labor and going to Cadillac Hospital. We called to inform everybody, and her last phone call was her mom, Courtney, and she said, don't let her get into a vehicle. I'm on my way. She got into a van with Kimmy and Courtney and left. I haven't heard from her since.
Deputies say Rebecca is not in any legal trouble. They just need to confirm she and her baby are safe.
Again, anyone is allowed to keep searching as long as they don't trespass or interfere with the investigation. Any information on their whereabouts are to call the Wexford County Sheriff's Office. Live in Wexford County, Tony Lundy, Up North Live News.
We're here, and let's all come together and bring Rebecca home. You know, she deserves that. Her baby boy deserves that, and all of her friends deserve that.
The Cadillac community coming together all to help find a missing pregnant woman from Wexford County. 22-year-old Rebecca Park has been missing for nearly 2 weeks now. Dozens of volunteers are preparing the search in the area that she was last seen. And that search party is set to begin Friday morning tomorrow at 10 a.m. at the Meyer parking lot in Cadillac. Organizers say after a short meeting, volunteers will drive together to Boone Township near where Rebecca was last spotted, getting into a dark-colored vehicle. Everyone is asked to dress for the weather and bring any equipment that could help, including drones, horses, or off-road vehicles.
I have a lot of people who are also concerned citizens who want to help. She was loved by so many people, and they just want to help. They want to help find her. People who didn't know her, people who did know her, people are just very concerned at this point and want to help.
Lewis says she'll stay in close contact with law enforcement throughout the search and will update the Bring Rebecca Park Home Facebook page with any new information. And we will have a link to that posted with this story and all the latest developments on our website. Check out upnorthlive.com. A coordinated search effort took place today in Cadillac as volunteers continue looking for Rebecca K. Park, who's been missing since November 3rd. The community gathered earlier this morning to cover a large stretch of wooded land just west of town. Up North Live's Tony Lundy joins us from the Meyer in Cadillac, where that the team actually first started searching today. Tony, what did searchers find out? What did they gather today?
Well, Melissa, they chose this mire because they felt like it was a central place for everybody to meet, and it gave plenty of room to organize for a large turnout like they had. Dozens of volunteers checked in here around 10 this morning. They had a quick little meeting, and they made their way out to go out and be a part of the search.
After gathering at Meyer, the search party caravanned to West 26 Road and South 21.5 Road, an area organizers believe needed another thorough sweep.
This is awesome. We have a great community, and it's great to see a community come together when somebody is in trouble and needs help. So I am a mother, I'm a grandmother, and you know, when somebody needs help, I just have a big heart.
Volunteers lined up an arm's length apart, working in a tight formation to make sure no patch of ground went unchecked. Off-road vehicles and a search dog helped widen the grid, giving crews more reach through the wooded terrain. Also joining the search was the Clandestine Investigative Authority, a professional search group out of Clare County.
I noticed that Rebecca was a foster child. I myself was a foster child of 16 years, and I know what it's like to find a family that actually cares for you, even a group of friends, and to have that person ripped from you.
I also heard that, unfortunately, allegedly the mother that raised Rebecca, the foster mom, was actually going to have to take the new baby with her.
It really tears at my heart. I want to bring closure to her and her family.
The Wexford County Sheriff's Office did not join the search today, but told us they have already conducted a thorough search in the areas where Rebecca was last seen. Organizers say determination, teamwork, and hope continue to drive these searches, no matter how long they take.
Leaders say that more searches may be organized depending on what the volunteers got out from today. Anyone with information about Rebecca K. Park should contact authorities immediately. Live in Wexford County, Tony Lundy, Up North Live News.
Well, it's really great how they all come together like that. That county, they really come together. It's nice to see a community come together for no matter what the situation is. They don't judge. They just got out there and they started looking for.
An update on the ongoing search for Rebecca Park in Wexford County. Rebecca has now been missing for more than 2 weeks. Investigators say rumors have been circulating online, and it's actually hampering their search efforts. Up North Live's Tony Lundy joins us live from the Wexford County Sheriff's Office. Tony, what are officials saying tonight?
Well, Mark, the Wexford County Sheriff's Office did release a statement today stating that the negative impact that the social media has on this case has caused them to where they're not going to be sharing information pertaining to the ongoing efforts to find Rebecca. Sheriff Trent Taylor said that due to the high number of calls coming in, that they've also set up a tip line specifically for this case. Sheriff Taylor is stressing that the tip line is only for actionable information regarding Rebecca Park and not a line to ask questions. Any updates will be shared only when there's a significant development. Park is still considered missing and possibly endangered after getting into a vehicle November 3rd. Searches by law enforcement and volunteers have turned up no new evidence. I tried to speak directly with the sheriff's office today, but was told that no one was available due to training. For the full press release and tip line information, visit upnorthlive.com. Live in Wexford County, Tony Lundy, Up North Live News.
Tuesday, November 25th, 2025, a body is found at the Manistee National Forest. It would later be confirmed to be Rebecca Park. Oh, poor thing.
We came out, we went down, we drove down as far as we thought, we got out. looked around. Then this white truck came up to us again, my older gentleman.
And you knew at that moment that it was Rebecca?
Yes.
New developments tonight after the body of Rebecca Park was discovered in the Manistee National Forest.
Rebecca's fiance and sister are now behind bars as the death investigation widens. 21-year-old Kimberly Park now being held on a $750,000 bond, with the judge today calling her a flight risk.
Richard Fowler, Rebecca's fiance, is being held on $1 million bond and being called a threat to the community. The charges come just a day after a body resembling Park was discovered by searchers in the Manistee National Forest, with police, as we showed you last night at 5 o'clock, descending on that Boone Township property, making a series then of arrests.
Investigators telling us they can't confirm if it is in fact Park until an autopsy is performed, nor can they comment on the status of Rebecca's baby.
Yeah, we want to get right to Up North Live's Tony Lundy, following this story for weeks and live tonight from the what?
Wow. So a young kid, 20 years old, had to see the site of how they left Rebecca. And he was so devastated on it. He didn't even want his own dad to go up there. How horrible.
For district court with the latest on this case and reaction from Rebecca's adopted mother.
Well, Mark, Stephanie Park.
Well, thank God they found her before that snowstorm hit that's going on right now.
Was inside the courthouse that's right behind me today to see both Rebecca's own sister and her fiance face a judge and charges related to her disappearance, but neither of them faces a charge directly related to her death yet. We are told the investigation continues, so additionally charges could come. But for now, Kimberly Park is charged with tampering with evidence, lying to police, and filing a false report. Rebecca's fiance, Richard Lee Fowler, faces 2 meth delivery charges and a habitual offender enhancement that could bring a life sentence. The pair's arrest came after the discovery of Rebecca's body last night, bringing an end to what has been proven to be and continues a difficult time for those who knew and loved Rebecca.
Yeah, I would appreciate all the public to just, if you see me or the kids, just nod, but do not approve.
This is the adoptive mom. I think she just is going a little too far. It was on, I mean, say less here, lady. But you have my condolences.
Approaches. Yeah. I am not capable of doing that. I cannot hold it together for the kids
Investigators say that the autopsy has not yet been scheduled, and they are not commenting on the status of the baby Rebecca was believed to be carrying. Live in Wexford County, Tony Lundy.
So she was found, and the baby was not. So where'd the baby go? Where's this baby? It was full-term baby.
Up North Live News.
Again, to reiterate what Tony said, the Wexford County Sheriff's Office is still waiting autopsy results to positively identify the body found. And for the latest developments in this case, anytime, head to our website, upnorthlive.com. New developments tonight in the investigation into the death of 22-year-old Rebecca Park. 2 more family member investigators say are linked to the case, and they were in court today.
That's right. This afternoon, Rebecca Park's biological mother and her stepfather went before a judge, Courtney and Brad Bartholomew, both arrested and booked over the weekend.
Up North Live's Tony Lundy joins us from the Wexford County Courthouse with the latest on what happened this afternoon. Tony.
Were brief but significant, as prosecutors told the judge that they still don't have key documents ready to move forward with charges against the Bartholomews.
An autopsy confirmed Rebecca Park's identity, and investigators say the baby she was days away from delivering was not with her when she was found in the Manistee National Forest. Sheriff Trent Taylor acknowledged that details remain extremely limited, urging patience as investigators work through the evidence. The night Rebecca's body was discovered, her fiance, Richard Lee Fowler, was arrested. Following that, the arrest of her sister, Kimberly Park. And this week, 2 new arrests, Rebecca's biological mother, Courtney Bartholomew, and her stepfather, Brad Bartholomew. But at their scheduled arraignments Monday afternoon, a request for a delay.
We will go ahead and, like Ms. Bartholomew, we will go ahead and set up for arraignment tomorrow. The court, in the meantime, will hold Mr. Bartholomew without bond if you find that he is both a threat and a flight risk based on what I've read in search warrants. As such, we'll reconvene tomorrow, see where we're at.
Prosecutors say the pause is necessary as investigators continue reviewing documents and executing search warrants.
If there was ever a case where there are circumstances that justify a delay of any type, it's this case. This is as serious as it gets. It's as horrible as it gets. And to preserve the integrity of the case.
Courtney and Brad Bartholomew will be back in court tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. I'll be in the courtroom again, bringing the latest information as it develops. Live in Wexford.
Wow. We are going to watch their court cases. I hate to break the bad news to you, but the fiance, Rebecca's fiance and sister, both bonded out. Devastating news.
County, Tony Lundy, Up North Live News.
Thanks for that, Tony. Now, here's a look at the timeline that brought us to this point. Family members say they last saw Rebecca Park November 3rd getting into a car. She was reported missing the following day. November 25th, volunteers searching the Manistee National Forest discovered what they believed to be Rebecca's body. Within 24 hours of that, investigators arrested Richard Thaler, Rebecca's fiance, and Rebecca's sister, Kimberly Park. On November 26th, both were charged in Rebecca's disappearance.
Then on November 29th, the autopsy confirmed the body was in fact Rebecca's and that the baby was not with her. A day later, investigators arrested Rebecca's mom, Courtney Bartholomew, about an hour after that, arresting her stepfather, Brad Bartholomew, this morning. Again, the Bartholomews are expected to be formally charged tomorrow.
2 family members of Rebecca Park are now charged with her death.
And those charges giving us a glimpse of what investigators say happened to the 22-year-old and her baby.
Rebecca's biological mother and stepfather, Courtney and Bradley Bartholomew, in court today on 8 charges each.
Now, we are warning you, the details of this case are very difficult to hear. Up north.
I just want to let everyone know that these are very hard to hear. So if you don't want to hear them, please exit, and I'm sure there's something else you can watch on YouTube. But these are very, very hard to hear. I just want to give that warning. We're all adults. This is a true crime channel. So unfortunately, they do talk about some pretty hard things to hear. Okay.
Tony Lundy joins us live from the Wexford County Courthouse, where the couple was charged with the murder of Rebecca and her baby. Tony, what was the atmosphere like inside that courtroom today?
Well, Melissa and Mark, the courtroom was packed with family, friends, and others from the community, all hopeful to find answers on this month-long case. But many left that courtroom today heartbroken.
The graphic details laid out by the prosecuting attorney describing what investigators say led to the death of Rebecca Park and her baby. The accused, Rebecca's biological mom, Courtney Bartholomew, and stepdad, Brad Bartholomew.
They brought Rebecca Park to their home. They forced her into a vehicle and took her into the woods where they stabbed her, forced her to lie on the ground while they cut her baby out of her, ultimately causing her death and the death of the baby.
The courtroom was filled with the same people who desperately searched for Rebecca after she was reported missing 1 month ago. And now, hearing the details that led to her death left many visibly distraught, the prosecutor asking the judge to leave no room for leniency.
This is as heinous and as awful a case as it could be. And I don't believe there are any circumstances in which Mr. Bartholomew should be granted any bond.
The judge did agree, ordering both Courtney and Bradley Bartholomew to continue being held without bond and are ordered to not have communication with one another from the jails. Live in Wexford County, Tony Lundy, Up North Live News.
So we'll watch their court hearings, but this mom, she is something else. This mother of Rebecca. I am so glad that her parents, that they did not raise her, because I'll tell you what. Hold on, I need to get there and put it in here. That is the Up North's link, and I will put it in the description box. Thank you so much to Up North for letting us view that. Shout out to them. All right, let's go to the right here. You'll see in one of these videos, he literally rolls his eyes. Like, you have no room to be rolling your eyes there, Bartholomew. The heck are you doing? So allegedly, the mother and the stepfather lured her out, and the stepmom took her to this forest and allegedly tortured her. She abbed her and then made her lie on the ground while she was still alive and ate the baby out of her belly. But they keep saying that the baby is no longer with us, but they don't know where the baby is. Oh, I thought I was sharing this. I am so sorry.
$10,000. And count number 7, it is alleged that you committed the offense of unlawful imprisonment. That is a felony punishable by up to 15 years in prison and/or a fine of $20,000. And count number 8, it's alleged that you committed the offense of dead bodies removing without medical examiner permission. That is a misdemeanor punishable by up to 1 year and/or $500. Additionally, the prosecution has elected to charge you as a habitual fourth offender, which means that you have at least 3 prior either attempted or completed felonies in your past. That makes those felonies punishable by more than 5 years up to life offenses. Do you understand those charges and the potential penalties? Yes. On felony complaints, you have certain rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say or write can and will be used against you. You also have the right to have an attorney present during any questioning that you consent to, and you have the right to stop answering questions at any time. You also have the right to be represented by an attorney, and if you cannot afford one would be appointed to represent you at public expense, but you may be required to repay a portion of that expense. Do you understand that? Yes. Today, do you plan to hire an attorney, represent yourself, or request the appointment of an attorney? The court will make a referral to the public defender's office for the appointment of an attorney, will enter a not guilty plea on your behalf, and will set the matter for a preliminary examination. That's a hearing that's held here in the district court within 21 days. At that hearing, the prosecution will be required to prove two things. One, probable cause that these crimes had occurred, and two, probable cause that you were the person who committed the offense. If the prosecution is not able to do that, the case will be dismissed, but if they are able to do that, it will be ordered to stand trial in circuit court. Prior to the preliminary examination, there will be a probable cause conference, which is where your attorney and the prosecutor will get together to see if there's a way to resolve the case. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Mr. Bartholomew, you met with somebody from the Community Corrections Department and gave them a mailing address, email, and a telephone number. Is that information all accurate?
Yes.
You also have the right to have a bond set. Your bond is based upon the probability of you appearing in future court appointments, the seriousness of the offense charged, and the threat that you pose to the public. Historically, counsel, I show in 01 there was a forgery, 02 was receiving and concealing, 200 to 1,000, 05 malicious destruction of property, 200 to 1,000, 06 driving license suspended second, 06 driving license suspended, 08 driving license suspended, 10 driving license suspended second, 10 driving license suspended.
Oh my God, talk about an habitual offender. Holy schmack rolls.
11, an attempted CSC 3, 11, larceny 1,000 to 20,000. Also in 11, there's an attempted larceny in the building, a joyride, driving license suspended, and another driving license suspended. In 14, there was a failed to comply with SOAR requirements. 17, failed to comply with SOAR requirements as a second. In 21, operating without a license. 24.
The habitual offenders are the ones driving without a license.
Failed to comply with SOAR. In 97, there was a set aside for receiving and concealing $100 or less, not shown in the CCH without a local record. There is an NSF check over $100 from, I believe that's 2000. The driving license suspended from 2000. 05, there's a driving license suspended. 06, driving license suspended. 11, driving license suspended. And 21, failed to display the license. I have reviewed the praxis. The praxis scores him at a risk level 4. Any comment regarding bond, Mr. Martel?
Yes, Your Honor. We, of course, respect these are extremely serious allegations. Without disputing the fact that this defendant does have a prior criminal history, obviously, even though some of those prior criminal histories are also very serious, I would ask the court to note none of those were for these type of allegations. I have represented this defendant in the past, and what I would say is, to my recollection, he's always stayed in contact with the defender's office. He's always been to court when we asked him to be to court, if I recall correctly. I don't believe there ever been any flight risk concerns. He does have strong ties to the community. The address that I have, and I won't state on the record, but it is the one that he's given us before, and I don't doubt he has strong ties to the community. I know he's extremely low income, so I would ask the court to factor that in when setting a bond. I do realize there will almost certainly be a monetary bond, but I ask the court to factor that in. I also ask the court to consider non-monetary bond conditions for public safety when deciding if it can be on the lower end of that. I don't doubt he would comply, as he's always complied with all bond conditions. Perhaps no contact with alleged co-conspirators, GPS tether, house arrest, things of that nature. But again, I just ask the court to factor in everything that's been said so far today. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you. The people are going to ask the court to deny bond in this matter. Under MCR 6.106B1, the court may deny pretrial release to a defendant charged with murder. He is charged with first-degree premeditated murder and felony murder, along with several other heinous crimes. In this case, we have two individuals that created a plan. They conducted research. They brought Rebecca Park to their home. They forced her into a vehicle.
Yeah, they spent time researching this crime, allegedly.
And took her into the woods where they stabbed her, forced her to lie on the ground while they cut her baby out of her, ultimately causing her death and the death of the baby. this is as heinous and as awful a case as it could be. And I don't believe there are any circumstances in which Mr. Bartholomew should be granted any bond. Thank you.
The court does find, based on probable cause affidavits that I have read, the search warrants that I have read, what's been presented to the court today, that Mr. Bartholomew does present as pose a threat and the flight risk to the community. As such, she will be held without bond.
Good.
Thank you, Ms. Aki.
The mom's up next. She acts like she did nothing wrong. Allegedly.
There's a reserved seat right there.
Can we sit down, Mark?
Why are they doing him again? What happened?
In a courtroom, no one may use portable electronic device to take photographs or audio or video. This is the case. Ms. Bartholomew, did you have the opportunity to meet with somebody from the defender's office either yesterday or today?
I did.
I have a complaint that alleges that on or about November 3rd, 2025, in Antioch Township and or Boone Township in Wexford County, it is alleged in count number 1 that you committed the offense of homicide, murder in first degree, premeditated, on Rebecca Park. That is a felony punishable life to life without parole, and DNA to be taken upon arrest. In count number 2, it is alleged that you committed the offense of homicide, felony murder upon Rebecca Park. That is a felony punishable by up to life without parole, and DNA to be taken upon arrest. In count number 3, it is alleged that you committed the offense of torture. That is a felony punishable by up to life or any term of years, and consecutive sentencing may be imposed if it happens in place of confinement. In count number 4, it is alleged that you committed the offense of conspiracy to commit torture with Bradley Bartholomew. That is a felony punishable by up to life and or any term of years and or $10,000. And again, consecutive sentencing may be imposed if it happens in place of confinement. In count
She had the nerve to think the county was going to care about her upcoming medical appointments. You didn't care about your child, your daughter that you allegedly hurt, stabbed, took her baby. But you want us to worry about a CAT scan, lady? You ain't got to worry about a CAT scan because you are right where you are going to be for the rest of your life. Allegedly, in my opinion.
number 5, it is alleged that you committed the offense of assault, pregnant individual, intentionally causing miscarriage or stillbirth. That is a felony punishable by life and or any term of years. In count number 6, it is alleged that you committed the offense of conspiracy to commit assault by an individual, intentionally causing miscarriage or stillbirth. That is a felony punishable by life or any term of years. And count number 7, it is alleged that you committed the offense of unlawful imprisonment. That is a felony punishable by up to 15 years in prison and/or a fine of $20,000. And count number 8, it is alleged that you committed the offense of dead bodies removed without medical examiner or permission. That is a misdemeanor punishable by up to 1 year in jail and/or a fine.
What's that face for, Courtney? You allegedly did this. You were there firsthand, allegedly. What you grinning about? You seen it firsthand, allegedly.
Fine of $500. Do you understand those charges and the potential penalties?
Yes, sir.
On felony complaints, you have certain rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say or write can and will be used against you. You also have the right to be represented by an attorney during any questioning that you consent to and the right to stop answering questions at any time. You also have the right to be represented by an attorney if you cannot afford one to be appointed to represent you at public expense, but you may be required to repay a portion of that expense. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Today, do you plan to hire an attorney, represent yourself, or request the appointment of an attorney?
Request.
The court will make a referral to the public defender's office for the appointment of an attorney. You will enter a not guilty plea on your behalf and will send the matter for a preliminary examination. That's a hearing that's held here in the district court within 21 days. At that hearing, the prosecution will be required to prove 2 things. 1, probable cause that these crimes had occurred, and 2, probable cause that you were the person who committed the offenses. If the prosecution is not able to do that, the case will be dismissed. But if they are able to do that, you'll be ordered to stand trial in circuit court. Prior to the preliminary examination, there will be a probable cause conference. That's where your attorney.
Look at the look on that prosecutor's face. She's like, we're gonna get him. We ain't playing.
The prosecutor will get together to see if there was a way to resolve the case short of going to trial. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You also have the right to have a bond set. Your bond is based upon the probability that you appear in a future court appointment, the seriousness of the offense charged, and the threat that you pose to the public. Counsel, the Praxis scores here at a risk level 2. The defendant's passed, I showed 15 the driving license suspended second, 18 driving license suspended, 19 allowing another person to operate in violation of the vehicle code, and 20 lying to a peace officer in a 1 to 4 year investigation, actually 2 convictions for that. In 05, a driving license suspended that was set aside. In 05, a financial transaction device fraud withdrawal 200 to 1,000 that was set aside. In 14, there was a driving license suspended set aside. In 18, false or forged ID set aside. On a local record not showing the CCH, there was an 03 stray dog and a licensed dog, 04 unlawful plate, 05 attempt failed to record an accident, and 15 driver license expired, and 17 allowing unlicensed driver to operate, 19 allowing unlicensed driver.
You couldn't even take the time to go and renew your license, allegedly, Courtney.
Driver operating, and in 23 false report of a misdemeanor. Any comment regarding bond, Mr. Martel?
Yes, sir. You do realize these are very serious allegations. She does, as the court did note, have a prior criminal history, nothing anywhere relatable to this. I would ask the court to factor that in and set it bond. I have had contact with her in the past. I did represent family members of hers. I won't go into too much detail about that. What I will say is, without giving the address on record, I am familiar that she does have strong ties to that area. She does have friends and family and support structure in the area. She also has a variety of disabilities that I won't go into too much detail just for.
She thinks she can get out so she can take care of her son. Lady, do you really think they're going to allow you around children? Allegedly. No. Right now, you're a problem for yourself, lady.
Facts of her, but she does have upcoming medical appointments, MRIs, CAT scans, things of that nature, just so the court is aware. I don't believe she's a flight risk, not only due to the fact of her ties to the community, but also due to her need to do those medical appointments. I do believe that she would obey any non-monetary bond.
Hi, Cindy. How are you? This case really makes me mad. It just makes my blood boil.
Conditions the court placed on her if the court has concern for public safety, which we don't doubt would be appropriate in the scenario. No contact with alleged co-conspirators, house arrest, things of that nature. I do realize the court's not required to set a monetary bond, but I would ask the court to consider it, including factoring in her disability, her low income, and the fact that her prior criminal history doesn't have these type of allegations in it. Thank you.
Okay, so what I'm confused about is she's in a wheelchair. They said she had to be wheeled around, allegedly. She didn't need a wheelchair that night that she led her daughter into the forest? What happened then? Courtney, allegedly, in my opinion.
Thank you. Again, the people are going to request the court deny bond in this case pursuant to MCR 6.106B1, which allows the court to deny pretrial release to a defendant charged with murder. She is charged with murder. She's also charged with felony murder and 6 other counts, as the court read. I hate to repeat it, but to create a record in this case as well, I think no bond or being held without bond is appropriate. Again, this is a case of premeditated torture and murder. These two individuals created a plan, conducted research. Ms. Bartholomew brought Rebecca to their home. They forced her into another vehicle and took her into the woods, where they stabbed her, forced her to lie on the ground while they cut her baby out, and ultimately caused her death and the death of the baby. They then left Rebecca in the woods. This is, frankly, evil personified, and I would ask the court to hold her without bond.
The court does find, based on what's been presented to it today, the quasi-affidavit I've read, and various search warrants I've read, the defendant is both a flight risk and a threat to the community, therefore she will be held without bond. I am going to order.
No, Courtney.
I'm also going to order that the defendant not have any contact with Bradley Bartholomew, and I'm going to sua sponte go back and add that requirement in his bond conditions as well. Counsel, anything for the record?
No, sir, thank you.
Thank you, Wexford.
Bye, Courtney. No, Courtney. No. You put yourself there. You are just fine, Courtney. Ooh, I don't like that girl. Okay, so then they had to come back the next day with Miss Courtney. Well, the baby hasn't been found, Cindy. So we don't know. But the medical examiner said that the baby is no longer with us. So either there was a lot of red stuff that came back to the baby stating, there was way too much blood loss. No way the baby could be alive. Oh, it's just horrible, Cindy. Just horrible. I can't. Oh. So they went back the next day with the mom. And she's something else. So let me find the one. I'm trying to find the one for the mom the next day. Boy, I can't wait to see the interrogations of these. Where's the one of the mom the next day? Hey. There we go. Got it. Like at this time, does the spelling of your name really matter? I guess so, maybe.
It's got a slide on the camera.
Ms. Bartholomew, are you able to see and hear me?
I can kind of see you. There's a thing in the middle of the screen, but yes, I can hear you.
All right. Ma'am, I have you here for an amended complaint. Your complaint is amended to correct the spelling of your name. Your first name was spelled incorrectly yesterday, so it has been corrected to amend that. But I do have to go through the charges with you again.
Oh.
It is alleged that on or about November 3rd, 2025, in Antioch Township and Boone Township, that in count number 1, you committed the offense of homicide, murder in the first degree, premeditated. That is a felony punishable by up to life. Punishable by life without parole, and DNA to be taken upon arrest. In count number 2, it is alleged you committed the offense of homicide, felony murder. That is a felony punishable by life without parole, and DNA to be taken upon arrest. In count number 3, it is alleged that you committed the offense of torture. That is a felony punishable by life or any term of years. The consecutive sentencing may be imposed if the assault happened in place of confinement. In count number 4, it is alleged you committed the offense of conspiracy to commit torture. That is a felony of life or any term of years and a $10,000 fine, and consecutive sentencing may apply if it happened in place of confinement. In count number 5 is alleged that you committed the offense of assault, pregnant individual, intentionally causing miscarriage.
I wish I could find a different one to watch.
That is a felony punishable by life or any term of years. In count number 6, it is alleged that you committed the offense of conspiracy to commit assault, pregnant individual, intentionally causing miscarriage or stillbirth. That is a felony punishable by punishable by life or any term of years. In count number 7, it is alleged you committed the offense of unlawful imprisonment. That is a felony punishable by 15 years in prison and or a fine of $20,000. And in count number 3, it is alleged you committed the offense of dead bodies removing without medical examiner permission. That is a misdemeanor punishable by up to 1 year in jail and or a fine of $5,000. Ms. Bartholomew, as I said before, those are the same charges you were arraigned on yesterday, but do you understand these charges and potential penalties?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
I wonder who I'm even watching.
We will go ahead and continue the not guilty plea and the request for the appointment of an attorney, and we will set the matter for a probable cause conference. Mr. Hartel, anything for the record?
Your Honor, I know there was a decision on bond yesterday. When I did meet with her earlier this morning, she did ask if we could address bond.
Ms. Carey, do you have any objection to that?
I do.
Mr. Hartel.
Thanks, Your Honor. I do, of course, realize and respect these type of allegations are not required to have a bond set. However, I would ask the court to consider one. She does have strong ties to the community. She has advised me she has various medical appointments coming up that require CAT scans, other important conditions that I won't go into too much for protection for medical reasons. I believe yesterday I failed to mention that she does have a minor child that she's the primary caregiver for. I believe a 14-year-old boy, if I recall correctly. She would like to get home to him, help take care of him and her other obligations. I again know these are very heinous allegations. I would ask the court to consider applying as many non-monetary bond conditions as possible, and perhaps even a high monetary bond I realize she's extremely low income and a high monetary bond would be very difficult for her to reach, but at least then it would be a possibility. She does have friends and family in the community who might be able to pool resources. But ask the court to consider it, even if on the high end. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Carey, you don't need to go into the facts of the case again, but do you have any comment regarding the request?
That's really briefly, Your Honor. First thing I want to say is that in looking at the complaint, I didn't notice in court for the city township village, it says Antioch Township and Boone Township. The original said and or.
That's what I thought.
And I would like to correct that. I don't know. Just write it down and maybe there's other typed.
So what we'll do is I will accept that as a verbal motion and I'll grant the request to amend it to change it to and or, and I will make the change on my copy. Ms. Bartholomew, just understand that the venue is in Antioch Township and or Boone Township, just so you're aware of that.
Okay. You amended.
You can send up a new amended one. We won't arraign her on that because I'll consider that done just now.
Thank you. And briefly on the bond issue, absolutely nothing has changed from yesterday to today. This, again, is as serious as it can be, and I believe the risk of flight, given these allegations, is just too high. And I would ask the court to continue the remand or holding her without bond. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The court agrees that there's been no change in circumstances. While I understand there are some health conditions and the concern for a minor child, the fact remains that Ms. Bartholomew is, I find, a flight risk and a threat to the community. So I will continue to hold her without bond. Anything else, counsel? No. All right. Thank you, Jill. Mr. Martell?
If it's only applicable to bond, I wouldn't be opposed to it, as long as it's not about the underlying case.
It's only about bond.
All right.
I am willing to work with the prosecutor. Also.
So I'm not going to get into
and also that. To have my jail sentence from this jail to my home where I would be monitored at your guys'.
That is something I have no control over. I am not most likely than not, I will not be your sentencing judge.
I just need to be able to take care of him. I'm the only one that has custody of him.
Ms. Bartholomew, I understand, but the fact is
Courtney, to be honest, you were not thinking about that, allegedly, when you were ordering your daughter, apparently, allegedly, in my opinion.
Found that you are a threat and a flight risk, and I am not going to, at this point, I'm not authorizing a bond. Thank you, Jill.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Did you see that look? Ah, what a horrible woman. So there's some new.
Hey, everybody, I'm Ashley Banfield, and this is Drop Dead Serious. I thought this case couldn't get any more disturbing. And then the newest details came in. What happened to 22-year-old Rebecca Park isn't just brutal, it is almost impossible to wrap your head around it. But the story now comes complete with career criminals who have rap sheets as long as your arm and disturbing criminal pasts that are so dark, it makes you wonder how they were out walking among us in the free world. This episode is tragic. A pregnant woman vanishes, and weeks later, when she's found murdered in a remote Michigan forest, she's no longer pregnant. But her unborn baby is missing. And the people now accused of carrying out this horror? Her own biological mother and her stepfather.
Oh.
What's worse, Rebecca had been stabbed to death and her baby had been cut from her body. This time of year, when you see groups of people holding candles outside, they're usually Christmas carolers or it's a Christmas celebration of some kind, but not this weekend, not in a small town in Michigan. That's when Rebecca Park's candlelight vigil is scheduled. Rebecca's fiance is now free to attend that vigil if he so chooses. And I say that because both he and Rebecca's sister, Kimberly, are out of jail after a judge drastically reduced their bail to
Yes, the sister and the baby daddy are out of jail. Oh,
$5,000. They had both been arrested the day after Rebecca was found. The sister for allegedly lying to the police and evidence tampering, and the fiance for allegedly delivering meth. But notice, no murder charges. Very interesting. Kimberly, the sister, will not be attending Rebecca's service because she's confined to her house with an ankle bracelet. And I think it's safe to say Rebecca's biological mother and stepfather, they're not going to be at that vigil either. Because Courtney and Bradley Bartholomew, that's their names, they have also been jailed, and they are being held without bond. And their charges are a hell of a lot more serious. Like first-degree murder, felony murder, torture, conspiracy to commit torture, assault on a pregnant individual causing miscarriage or stillbirth, conspiracy to commit assault on a pregnant individual causing miscarriage or stillbirth, unlawful imprisonment, and removal of a dead body.
oh,
Which, of course, that list would be more than reason enough to deny them any bond at all, right? But at their arraignment this past Tuesday, the judge went further and told us something else. The fact that Courtney and Bradley Bartholomew both have long and ugly rap sheets, criminal histories. They both got records dating back more than 20 years, mostly for petty crimes, but not entirely. Bradley's record starts in 1997 with what appears to be theft. So welcome to the criminal world, Bradley. Congratulations. The paperwork called it receiving and concealing $100 or less. And there's a similar count in 2002. In 2001, he was charged with forgery. Then there's the driving with a suspended license charge, which, by the way, seems to become a hobby of his because he's been busted for that crime 10 times.
God.
In 2011, things got more serious for Bradley. He was convicted of criminal sexual conduct in the third degree. And in 2014, 2017, and 2024, he failed to comply with the sex offender registration requirements that no doubt came from that sex crime. Courtney, his lovely wife, first ran afoul of the law back in 2003 over an unlicensed dog. Okay, not a violent crime, but at least it was a beginning for Courtney. The next year, she was caught with an unlawful license. Plate. Like her husband, she's got several arrests for driving with a suspended license, but there's also a charge in 2005 for something called financial transaction device fraud. And in 2018, another for false or forged IDs. So clearly, she was progressing. In 2020, Courtney was convicted on 2 counts of lying to a peace officer. And in 2023, she falsely reported a misdemeanor. True crime podcaster Stephanie Pratt has interviewed Courtney Bartholomew more than once, but now she's got even more to say. Stephanie asked the jailed victim's mom.
You know, I don't get it where this woman thought that this judge was going to let her out, but I still want to know. She's in a wheelchair right now. But when she allegedly led her daughter to the forest, she was walking. No way a wheelchair is going to get in there. And then she was able to stab her to death, make her lay on the ground, allegedly, while she cut her baby out of her stomach while she was alive. Oh my God. This is all alleged. This is all my opinion.
Straight out. Was your husband, Bradley Bartholomew, in the house with you, along with Rebecca, the victim, on the night Rebecca died? And here's how Courtney Bartholomew answered.
Was Brad home at the time?
No.
Earlier on my News Nation show, I talked to Stephanie Pratt. She has the podcast called Steph's Case Files. Here's our conversation. Stephanie, you've been doing really good work on this case. I think you're leading in the reporting. Tell me a little bit more about your conversations with Rebecca's mother.
Well, as you saw in that clip, the actual time span that it took her to answer me on whether he was there or not was 12 seconds. And that was a very long.
Well, I think she was texting someone. You could hear her messaging somebody from her phone.
And silent 12 seconds. And to me, it was a simple yes or no answer. Was he there or wasn't he there? So in those 12 seconds, a lot of things I feel went through Courtney's mind. She's asked me this direct question. How do I answer this? Do I answer it in a way that puts him here in a safe time, maybe when her son was awake? Or do I just flat out lie and say no? And as you heard, she decided to say no.
I'm curious if your spidey senses tell you whether these folks are clever like a fox, or complete morons. And in my line of work, I come across more morons than foxes. I just don't know if she was doing the mental gymnastics or if she just started to realize, I think I might be painting myself into a corner.
Well, to be nice about it, Ashley, I have said several times it's almost like an episode of Dumb Criminals because there are textbook 101 mistakes in this, from leaving a digital footprint of research beforehand to straight out lying to not just me, but.
You know, that's crazy. Is they researched this allegedly for a long period of time. So Rebecca's mom, Courtney, the girl here in the middle, here, this is Courtney. She called Rebecca and said, meet me at the house. I'm going to take you and give you the $2,000. Apparently, she sold some land. I don't think she had any land. What land? You know, Cindy, I was watching Brian Etten, and him and the FBI guy are thinking that they were trying to sell the baby for rugs, or they owed money to a rug dealer. Poor baby.
Several content creators about where and who was with her that night, times, and so there was shadiness going on from moment one with Courtney, and wading through all of her statements was challenging. But once we put it together in our head, it was simple. She was leading us, thinking she was leading us in a different direction. In fact, she sent someone a message from her Facebook stating that she was trying to do reverse psychology on us. That's her quote. And I couldn't believe what I was reading, because we are sitting here thinking there's no way that you're going to convince us that you didn't have some sort of part of this. We caught on really early to what she was trying to tell us, and even reading between the lines.
Well, Courtney seems to like to play dum-dum jujitsu, and it doesn't work well with someone like you, because you have also gone down the rabbit hole of the back charges, the long litany of rap sheet offenses that this couple has been convicted of. Let's go to Bradley's, because the history of sex offenses are very disturbing, and the number of times that he just disregards all the things you have to do after you serve time. Sex offender registration, serious business. And you were able to get a hold of his 2011 sex crime victim and talk to her. What did she tell you? What kind of enlightenment did you get about the man who's being held for the first-degree murder of his stepdaughter?
Well, Ashley, this was during the time that Rebecca was still missing. And I'd gotten a message from someone saying, of course, I want to remain anonymous, but I have to talk to you about that. I am the victim from 2011.
Oh, wow.
And I have to tell you what happened to me. And she goes into detail about where this assault took place. We know it's not alleged at this time because it is a conviction, the very conviction that he's having trouble keeping up with as far as registration is concerned. She said that he took her down that very 2-track, the one straight down from Courtney's house that the phone was found on. So this puts history with Brad assaulting women down that same 2-track. She told me this happened in 2011 and she has never recovered from it. In fact, now she has a 14-year-old daughter of her own. And Brad, in recent times, has tried to contact her own daughter and establish a relationship with her.
Oh my God, she got
Well, that has got to be a massive sex offender registry offense as well, contacting the offspring of your victim. I hope that they reported that to his parole officer. Let's flip over now to Courtney Bartholomew and her long rap sheet. Too much to get into. I listed it off. Those were the greatest hits. But the interesting part is that there were court documents showing Courtney had lost custody of her older children. What was the reason that she was no longer allowed to see her own kids?
She has a 25-year-old son, and there was a part of court documents that talked about her not understanding the dangers of having a sex offender around her children. And I believe that there was several situations where she did have children around sexual offenders. This time didn't seem any different. She married one. In fact, he is not allowed to live at her home. She told me he was living in a tent 7 miles from her home because he's not allowed to be there. He's not allowed to be around minors. Her 14-year-old son is a minor. And he is caught on tape during the time that the protests were in front of the home of him being around that minor, which is another violation of this 2011 order.
So, Stephanie, just to be clear, I mean, we keep showing this picture of Bradley Bartholomew, but I'm having trouble following the bouncing ball with these criminals. Was Courtney with another sex offender? And that was the genesis of the problems that she faced when she lost her kids? It wasn't even this one, this Bradley Bartholomew sex offender. It was another sex offender she was with?
That's right. It wasn't Bradley. It was someone else. And when Rebecca was born, I want to note this. Rebecca was about a year old. Her and Kimberly are very close in age. And one of the reasons why she lost those girls was because she tried to drive off a bridge with them in the car. But prior to that, there was a court documentation note that they were having trouble explaining to her or having her understand the consequences of having her children around sexual offenders.
I can't believe it. Every time you answer a question, you add something more that shocks me. The fact that she tried to drive off a bridge with the daughter she eventually would be accused of murdering. And
oh my God, these kids have had a horrible life. Allegedly, their mom just put them through. But from what I hear, this Jennifer Parks or Stephanie Parks, the adoptive mom, gave them a really good life.
Butchering to remove a baby. I feel like, Stephanie, you and I aren't finished talking. I think we're going to be discussing this case a lot more. Thank you so much for doing this on a Friday night. I look forward to our next conversation. And that's where this case stands tonight. We are absolutely staying on this one. Every twist, every filing, and every development, because I, for one, believe the minute these 4 people step into a courtroom, there's got to be something that their lawyers say. There's definitely something the prosecutors will say. And usually there's some kind of indication of details of why they figured they could be arrested and charged with such serious crimes. Make sure that you're subscribed on YouTube or your podcast app.
And they let her keep the 14-year-old. Well, knowing that she's allowing this ex-offender to be there. Oh. Well, let's see if there's any updates from today, because that's pretty much all there is. We can watch that Brian Etten. Here's part of the search party when they were out there looking for her. A 20-year-old found it, Rebecca, and they thought it was a mask. They asked somebody to come check it out to see if it was a mask, and the son said he didn't want his dad to go up there.
You want to hop back?
Brian Etten. And shout out to Brian Etten. I will leave his links in the, I thought I was subscribed to him, in the description. Okay.
Stories that I cover can be pretty disturbing, but this is just especially bad. This story out of Michigan, there's a mother who has been arrested for cutting her granddaughter out of her daughter, like literally cutting the baby out and killing and torturing her daughter.
He says granddaughter, but from what I read on Facebook, that's like close to her, it was a boy.
It's beyond words, and there's other family members who have now been allegedly tied in and also arrested, and it's this whole twisted circle that is coming to light in Michigan related to this crime. This girl is missing, and now all of the details are coming out about what happened to her and what happened to her poor baby. I'm going to dig into all the latest in this episode of Brian Etten Investigates. Hey guys, so this story, like I said, is really a tough one. The details of what happened are really unimaginable. 22-year-old Rebecca Park just viciously attacked, and her baby was cut out of her, and she was reportedly tortured. And the suspects are her biological mother and her biological mother's husband.
Oh.
Their names are 40-year-old Courtney Bartholomew, that's the biological mother, and 47-year-old Bradley Allen Bartholomew. Now, this happened northwest of Cadillac, Michigan, in the small town of Boone, Michigan. Rebecca's body was found just before Thanksgiving. She was reportedly 38 weeks pregnant. It all started when she was reported missing by family members. There was this massive search that went on for days for her. There were different police agencies involved. There were search dogs. There were air assets. Rebecca's body was found near a place called the Manistee National Forest, and it was actually volunteers who were out searching for her that discovered her. Again, there's so many disturbing parts of this, but her baby was not with her when they found her, according to law enforcement. The baby was cut out of her. Park was due to give birth on November 18th. Family says that she was already 1 centimeter dilated the day before she went missing. I watched the entire arraignment. Obviously her mother and then her mother's husband were both arraigned. It was emotional. You could hear family members crying and gasping in the courtroom. You could see some had their heads down in their laps. I mean, people were very, very disturbed. Prosecutors say the couple created a plan, that this was very much planned. They conducted research. The prosecutor said that they brought Rebecca Park to their home. They put her in a car. They drove her out. They took her into the woods, and then they stabbed her, and they forced her to lie on the ground while they cut her baby out of her. Now, ultimately, they caused her death, and they caused the death of the baby, according to police. It's as heinous and awful a case as there can be. That is what the prosecutor said. Those were the prosecutor's words. She called it premeditated torture. And she said it was Courtney Bartholomew, the mother, who brought Rebecca into the woods. Her daughter was then tortured, and the prosecutor said it was evil personified. Rebecca's body was found, but from all the recent reports that I've been looking over, the baby's body has not been found yet. So we don't know where they took the baby, who is apparently not alive. The public defender representing the boyfriend of the Bradley Allen Bartholomew said that he's represented him before. He's not concerned that he would be a flight risk. He was basically trying to get this guy bond, despite how serious this is. Said he's extremely low income. Obviously, though, bond was denied. The judge denied bond. For Courtney Bartholomew, the public defender said that she has a criminal history, but nothing serious, nothing quite like this. Again, the public defender said that she had contact with her before, represented her family members in the past. It seems like this whole family's been in trouble before. And the public defender tried to play up her strong ties to the area again, trying to get her a bond, saying that she has disabilities. But no surprise there. The judge said bond was denied. These are very, very serious charges, obviously. When the hearing ended and the judge decided no bond, you could see Courtney doing this very weird thing, waving her hands around. This was just strange. And I don't know if she was trying to get the judge's attention or what, but it was weird. In another twist, Rebecca Park's fiance, Richard Taylor, and her sister, Kimberly Park, were also both arrested. Kimberly Park, whose bail set at $750,000, was arraigned on charges of tampering with evidence, lying to a police officer, and filing a false report. Thaler, whose bond is set at $1 million, was arraigned on 2 counts of delivering methamphetamine. Detectives alleged the sister lied to police when she claimed that their stepfather had struck Park in the head, causing a seizure, and then took her body away. So sort of another strange twist about how they may be involved, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. Of course, the big question is what the motive could be for cutting Rebecca's baby out of her. Did they want to hurt the baby, or was it about taking the baby or selling the baby? According to MLive, friends say Rebecca Park was not in contact much with her biological mother. She was raised by an adopted mother. Investigators are not saying much about motive at this point. The charges against the mother and stepfather, they do provide some clues. They include first-degree premeditated murder, torture, and unlawful imprisonment, an assault with intent to cause miscarriage or stillbirth. And also there's a misdemeanor of removal of a dead body. The local prosecutor is getting help from the Michigan Attorney General's office with the case. The AG released a statement of their own that says Rebecca had everything to live for, and our hearts are with her, with her loved ones as they endure this unthinkable loss. We are committed to working alongside the Wexford County Prosecuting Attorney's Office to ensure justice is pursued in this tragic case without delay.
So did you know that your personal data is being harvested and sold online by data? Promo code investigates at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/investigates. Promo code investigates.
I'm joined now by Steve Moore, former FBI agent. Steve and I are both I think everybody's sick right now, so if our voices sound a little weird, but I appreciate you coming on, especially for this case, because there's so many unanswered questions, and it's disturbing. And my first question for you is, what do you think the motive could be here for the biological mother to cut the baby out of her daughter?
You know, you can kill somebody, you can torture them without doing that. So I don't think it's a crime of passion. I think it's a crime where they wanted something. What they could get for the baby, what they thought they could get, I don't know. But I don't think that there was a lot of sober thinking about this. I think that this is probably as much drug fueled as it was insanity fueled. And so what they were doing, they may not even have a great idea of it now. But I would say the only thing that comes to mind right off is selling the child.
Well, it seems like based on watching the court hearings, a lot of these people involved have criminal histories. The one extended family member got arrested on meth, lots of meth charges and that kind of thing, selling meth. You think that in there they thought they could sell the baby, maybe
Yeah, I actually do, because people who do meth habitually tend not to have great ideas, and so I think it is possible. I mean, you're kind of looking at around the backside of the curtain, a backstage of life, and seeing the worst of it right now, and what they were thinking when they get to this point. When you have people who are willing to do this, what must their mindset be? What must their logical thought process be if they are already to the point of being willing to cut out, if the charges are true, your daughter's baby to sell your grandchild? I mean, oh my God.
Yeah. And, the accusations are it was the biological mother and then her husband who did this together and tortured her.
Right.
I'm just thinking, for one person alone to be in such a crazy state to be able to do that. But when you have two people, you'd think one would be like, what the heck are we doing? Like, you know what I mean? The fact that they were both able to be involved, that's hard to wrap your mind around.
Yeah, it really is, Brian, and I can tell you that in the course of the FBI, seeing stuff like this, you just have to, at a certain point, come to the realization that sometimes evil is so real that you just have to accept that these things happen. You can, as somebody once told me, and I tried to tell my agents, is if you can understand this, there's something wrong with you. And so the fact that we can't understand it should be kind of an encouragement to us.
I don't understand.
Could it be like some kind of cult? I'm just thinking, like, to do that to your own daughter and your own grandchild, it's almost like could it be a cult thing? Or, or you think it's just the drugs?
I think it's just the drugs, because if you're in a cult, you have some sort of discipline usually. Cults require you to study, to follow, to devote yourself to something, however bent it is. And they don't seem to have had the wherewithal to do anything but take drugs. So if I had to put this in a universe right now, the universe would be one in which their entire life was their next hit. Nothing else mattered. They had gotten to that point. So how do we ensure that the hits keep on coming? And that is to have more money. And they may have come to a point where they were destitute, broke, or owed people money who might have hurt them very badly for this. So I think you have people who have just reached the end of their civilized existence.
Who buys a baby like in a situation like this?
I have worked cases where children are sold. I have never worked a case where babies are sold. And that they thought that they could sell a baby is possibly more indicative of their delusions or the delusions of somebody who said they would buy it. I can't even imagine.
I've been following true crime way before the Casey Anthony. And to be honest, I don't think I ever heard anything more disgusting, heartbreaking than this. From a mother I mean, I've heard of horrible crimes, but not a mother doing it to their baby, to their daughter, and then their baby. You know, it's like, wow. I get pretty mad at Amy sometimes, but you know what? I could never in a million years ever hurt my child. Ever. And I would be darned if I would sit around and allow somebody to hurt my child. Because if I'm not going to hurt her, you certainly are not going to. Just heartbreaking.
Who would buy and how they could think they could sell.
I just want to go over some of the charges again, because we still don't know motive, but maybe the charges give a little clue of what was going on, what prosecutors know. First degree premeditated murder is one, so I guess that would mean that this was planned out.
Yes, it was.
Yes, absolutely. That they had all agreed on this.
And then torture, the charge of torture. What does that say to you?
That torture would be gratuitous harm and pain to a person that is not part of the killing of the person, as gross as that sounds. That would be something used to motivate the person to comply with your orders, or in the case of really, really mentally bent people, it comes as some kind of sexual enjoyment.
And then there's a charge of unlawful imprisonment. Does that mean that she was alive for a while? What does that mean?
Yeah, according to the charges that I read, they forced her into a car. And at that point, that's unlawful imprisonment. She doesn't want to be in that car. She doesn't want to be with you. She wants to leave. Therefore, you have unlawful imprisonment. Basically, another word for kidnapping.
And then there's assault with intent to cause miscarriage or stillbirth. So does that mean that they wanted to kill the baby?
I think they are throwing that in just to get a large raft of charges against the person. It would indicate that they believed right away, that the police believed right away, that the intent was to kill the child. And if that is the case, my mind boggles as to what was going on. But so that would be, thrown in there. You're going to throw in everything because some charges can be bargained away. Some charges will be thrown out. So you don't want to leave yourself with too few charges.
And I guess they may not know what the motive was of them doing this. I mean, maybe they put that charge in, but they may not know whether they intended to keep the baby alive or not.
No, that's absolutely true. But I do think they know a lot more than they're letting on.
And then there was another charge. This one was a misdemeanor, removal of a dead body. So, and from what I understand, they still haven't found the baby.
No, they haven't, and that would be the removal of the dead body, which indicates that they believe that they can prove at the time that the baby was dead when they left with the child. And so that indicates to me that one of these four people who've been arrested is trying to save their own butt and are cooperating. There's too much specific information in what I've seen going to the judge than you would pick up simply from circumstantial evidence or the crime scene alone.
So you think one of them may be turning on the other?
Yeah, I believe that. I don't think the grandfather, or I'm sorry, I don't think the stepfather or the mother are rolling, but I do think one of the other two, the sister and the fiance, one of them has rolled. Is my belief.
Yeah, the sister Kimberly Park arraigned on charges of tampering with evidence, lying to a police officer, and filing a false report.
Right.
So it sounds like she maybe initially was trying to throw the police off of what really happened.
Yes, and then the police take that statement and they make it an official document, and then you have committed the crime of filing a false police report. If I were to guess, I would say that they explained to her very carefully what her future looked like. And she made a decision. You know, we always told them, one of you four is going to get the magic ticket, and if not walk out, at least have a sentence where you're going to see blue sky again before you die. The rest of you are not. And so the first one who makes the deal wins. Everybody else loses. And so that's very, very frequently a strong motivator for somebody, especially one who might not have been completely okay with the entire scenario to begin with.
Yeah, you can't imagine. I mean, who knows? But you can't imagine that these outsiders, that the sister, I mean, again, I don't know, but that the sister and her husband would all four of them be okay with doing something that, you know?
Yeah. I just have no idea how messed up it could be. I mean, we've already seen that there are two people messed up enough to do it. You know, it's possible that there were four where two were messed up enough to do it and two were messed up enough to allow it to be done.
And then I said husband, but it's actually her fiance. The biological sister's fiance was also arrested, but he was arrested on delivering meth with a $1 million bond, which is even higher than her bond. What do you think is going on there?
Well, anybody who might be involved, anybody who might have evidence, anybody who might be able to destroy evidence, they're going to want them wrapped up and in a place where they can find them. They want them babysat until they can completely investigate the rest of this case. So they're going to take anybody like that and use whatever charges they have to keep them on ice. And so what you've got with the fiance is it was just a handmade thing to keep him under and keep him in. And the reason he gets $1 million bail is you go to the judge and say, he has provided information that we believe is either false or could be valuable to us in a case of this murder where somebody had their baby cut out of their body. Judges are very good about saying, I think $1 million bail sounds good.
They look at the bigger perspective, sort of.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. And,
have you, this is obviously just an unusually terrible case, but have you ever had anything like this? I mean, if in your career, does anything come to mind?
I've had some pretty horrible cases, but I've not had one. I mean, I had one where a woman had, where family members made her watch as they killed her 9-month-old baby, and then killed her. So yeah, I've had some pretty disgusting cases, obscene cases, but I've not had one just like this.
That must be hard with this case, even, and with the one you talked about too, for law enforcement. I mean, to be dealing with it.
It kind of leaves a mark. I mean, that case I just told you about was 40 years ago, and I can still remember the victim's name and the baby's name, and it just doesn't go away. It's just you learn to live with what you see and what you hear, and decide that you're not gonna let that destroy your life the way it destroyed theirs.
And you mentioned what you see. It was volunteer. It was like this whole volunteer search in this case. And it was the volunteers I read that actually found the mom. And I was just envisioning like what that must have looked like. I mean, I can't imagine what that must have looked like considering what they did to her,
I would not have wanted to have seen that. And that's, and you have to pity the poor police officers who are investigating this now, because not only are they going to see the crime scene, they're going to see everything. They're going to have to attend and witness the autopsies. They're going to have to do all of this. And at the end of this, they don't get a day off. They just move on to the next case, and sometimes a case like this is something where you need to give them some time and some help to process it.
You mentioned earlier you think that they know more than they're letting on, the police. Why is that?
Well, I mean, when they say that, when they charge moving a dead body, and the body that's there was not moved, and the baby is missing, the assumption there is that they knew that the baby was dead when they left. Well, if you don't have the baby's body, how do you have that information? They also say that she was stabbed and then forced to the ground so they could do this horrible thing. The deal is, if you just want to tell the judge they took her to the woods and did this, the judge isn't going to ask you, oh, really, what happened first? How did they? No.
My God, I could only imagine if the details got any worse. I mean, this is just, like you said, unbelievable, heartbreaking.
What they did is give information that would indicate to a law enforcement officer and maybe a judge that you have either witness, first-hand witness or second-hand witness testimony about what happened. And I can't see that the stepfather would be talking to anybody, but the mom might talk to her daughter, and the daughter might know what happened, because the fact that they say she was stabbed and then forced to sit down or lay down, that to me indicates that somebody described the process and the timeline of the actual attack. And to me, that means somebody's cooperating, and might have been a kind of a nod to the judge saying, hey, we know more than.
Oh, it had to have been the daughter that was in jail. Because look at her bond, got reducedly. I think it was like $750,000 down to $5,000. So somebody's talking, allegedly.
We're telling you.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you think that the sister and her fiance could actually be like co-conspirators in this?
Yeah, they could be co-conspirators before the fact or after the fact. They could be co-conspirators they could be accomplices, before or after the fact. They could have been co-conspirators and been part of this whole thing because they were all in the meth business and the meth use business together. So that's a distinct possibility, but it's also a distinct possibility that they became accessories after the fact, meaning that they found out information about the crime, learned what had actually happened, and not only didn't tell the police, but gave them false information to send them off in a different direction. So one of the two, I believe, is true, or they wouldn't be in jail.
And just one other thing I thought of with the torture charge. I mean, there's a lot of stories that I've covered where people are killed and it seems like they're almost like tortured a little bit or put, mentally tortured before it actually happens. And you don't actually see a torture charge. Is it unusual that they're charging torture?
It's unusual when they charge torture because it's so hard to prove. Because torture, you have to prove not only that they did a very specific act, and you have to prove their motive for doing it. If, for instance, you just the act of taking.
Well, unfortunately, Michigan does not have the death penalty, so that's sad news.
A baby out of a pregnant woman, you could possibly call that torture, but if you were trying to sell the baby, it would actually be part of your horrible, disgusting, obscene plan, but not necessarily meant to cause pain to the person. Torture, you could say, well, it can't be avoided. This is what we're going to do. Torture is an intent to create pain and anguish on the person. And so it could have been that if this person was not complying, if the victim was not complying, that they were using the knife to motivate her.
Well, that's about all I can take for tonight on that. I'm sorry. I had to take my my anxiety meds. It was really getting to me. But I've been on for almost 2 hours listening to this. Thank you, Cindy, so much for joining me tonight. I just want to say rest in peace to Rebecca, and hopefully, fingers crossed, they find that baby, whether it be a boy or a girl. I hope they find him or her soon, and the baby can be laid to rest with mom, maybe together. This is a very sad story situation. I'm glad I'm not the detectives that had to work the case, be there, look at the poor good lady, the poor girl. And, she was really trying to get her life back together. She had an 11-year-old son that her foster mom was raising for her. I did hear that CPS was going to come and take the baby, I think, until she got everything together. I think that's why she wanted the $2,000. And she was excited to get that because it was going to help her maintain a home and get things that she needs for the baby. I just don't get it, why we are getting pregnant and we aren't prepared. I guess it happens. But thank you. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I will see you in the next stream, okay? Thank you.